Okay.
Hi there. Hi everyone. Welcome to our third IGTV Live. I'm Nicky, as you probably know. Rowena. Thanks for joining us again. We're just going to wait a few minutes for people to join in. And whilst we're waiting, we're going to show you, this week's all about front of house and a warm welcome. How we offer our guests a warm welcome, how our owners offer their guests a warm welcome, and what you do to offer your visitors and people who come to your homes, how you welcome them and make them feel at home. So we're going to start by showing you a few our front of our houses, our holiday homes, just to kind of emphasise how important it is to have a great front of house, particularly for holiday homes, making sure that they are inviting and they look clean and tidy and attractive and have that real curb appeal to make you want to stay and enjoy your holiday. So there's a few examples on the screen flicking through. Some have got little touches like that one which make you feel really at home once you step through the front door. Making sure that you've got lighting outside for when it's dark and guests arrive in the dark. Making sure your steps are clean and tidy and there's no trip hazards. And obviously once you're through the front door, the next part of hosting is all about inside the house. So, a warm welcome. What is a warm welcome? It can be a number of things. It could be having some flowers on arrival as you step through the front door. It could be a bottle of local sparkling wine. It could be tea and coffee and bread and butter, so you can make yourself a drink if you've had a long journey getting there. There's all sorts of ways of making sure you have a warm arrival.
And they're the things that are probably the most obvious. But if we start at the very beginning, which is before your guests even arrive to the door, it's all about the journey that they're taking down. So if you think, put yourselves in your guest position, and we've all been there, we're planning our break, we're jumping in the car, we're getting the kids in, we then put the sat-nav on and off we're going down the M25 towards Kent. And then, we might encounter some traffic. It might just be one of those congested weekends, like we just had our bank holiday. We've got this great sun outside. It has been chock-a-block for all of our holiday lets. It's been very busy. So, talking with our guests, we've known for all of the years we've worked, is that to make them have the best experience is to start at the very beginning. Make sure they've got good directions and keys, really concise ones. We could all rely on the sat-navs perhaps a bit too much. If you know the sat-nav is sometimes a bit tricky on Google or is not quite so great on other ones, friends have said, well, we like to share that with the guests. So share that with us if you're working with an agency or if you're talking directly to your guests. Make sure you send them a text to say, good luck on your journey down, we'll welcome you in, just to let you know this route's kind of blocked today or whatever, it's all the local nitbits to just help, can my guests get to my house with as little problem as possible? And that's all to do with communication. So one of the things that we've always done at Bloom is to make a good welcome is that they get an automatic message from us so that they're guaranteed to get a text that says, right, here's your postcode, this is where you're going, and this is your contact. Your contact might be yourself as the owner, it could be the housekeeper, it could be us. But they know at the grab of your hand, you don't want to go through your emails and messing around when you're caught at the doorstep and can't open the key box. You want to be able to go, okay, I can quickly ring somebody. So it's a really good way just to have that connection. The other things about communication is making sure that once they're in, if you're not doing a meet and greet, you might be doing a key box system, which is very, very popular considering with COVID, it's been rising. A lot of guests are not keen on having set dead times.
No.
We've got that in our day job.
Everybody's schedules are different and some may not arrive at 3, some may have to arrive later on in the evening after work. So having the flexibility with the key box is really important.
And in some cases, what meet and greets might be really a nice touch to give to your guests. And I think that's maybe something that you can either offer as an option, it could be a free optional add-on that the guests can put on in their booking journey, or it could be something that you check in with them and say, would you like me to pop in? Or if not, the key's here. Yeah. And so you can make it quite bespoke your own, but it's also okay to use a key box system. I'd say 90% of holiday cottages do, even the big houses. And there are other ways of getting key access these days that you might want to look at, like there's digital key systems, which you can then have coding, which you can be changed. We can manage it for you. We've got technology as well within our booking software to do that. And you can get those at Yale is one good example, where you can get different coloured handles, and they go with all your typical front doors, and they're as little as £169, I think they are. So then you don't have a key box, and you don't have the serial numbers and any of those things.
Very simple,
it's
really easy to use.
And it's kind of probably the way forward. So pre-planning as well for that arrival. If you know the bank holiday's coming up, you know that it's a huge pressure, then planning for it. I mean, that's what we specialise in. So we knew we had 99% of our cottages busy this weekend.
Yeah.
So we knew we had to make sure that each and every one was ready and touch base to make sure that they arrive and have a really great start to their holiday. And we go on further with how we do that through their stay. So love at first sight. You know, this all comes down to having a look at these lovely pictures that we had showing up our properties. When a guest arrives at a property, with whether it be an apartment block, a dreamy cottage, a big mansion, there needs to be a real kind of curb appeal, as best as you can.
Factor.
And it could just be keeping driveways clear, gardens tended regularly, weeding taken out, you know, those pesky weeds just pop up, especially after all the rain and now the sun. And just to keep on top of it, so that people come and they're feeling, oh yes, this is, you know, the welcome to my home. And then once you get to the doorway, even if it's a simple front door, it might not be one of our beautiful gable arch doors, but make sure it's clean, cobweb free, door clean, lighting working, doormats there waiting, stairs free of, you know, maybe in the winter time, they're not slippery. Just very simple touches to make sure it's easy as well to come in, so they feel welcomed.
And once you're through, obviously, you've opened up, you've got your luggage, you've got your coats, your shoes. Make sure there's somewhere for them to hang their coats and pop their shoes tidily away. So.
And a key bowl, so you're not kind of juggling all your bags and you've got the kids under your arm and you don't know where to set yourself. And again, just making it easy. If you haven't thought about that on the entrance, we'll do it at home. We take for granted you make things work around you. Have a little practice run. Get friends to come down and trial out with your holiday let and help you work out, how do I make it easy when they get here? And making an entrance is one of the things that you can also include with your pets. So if someone's pet friendly, they bring the dog along, they might have muddy paws. If you know a pet's booked, maybe have a towel included. That's for pets. It won't be one of those nice white fluffy towels, but by the basket, in by the door. So when they come through the door, they can handle the pooch's feet, and off we go. Little touches again, just to make them feel like I've been thought about before I come through the door. So, and then warm welcomes. You know, these things we touched on about having treats in the house, but there's things that you can do a lot more than that, and actually very simply. So if you imagine a winter break is often the ones that perhaps get forgotten about a bit, I'd say.
It's a little harder when it's darker and colder to give that warm welcome when guests arrive. So you need to think about what you could do once they're inside to give them that warm feeling.
And there's some real simple touches, a little bit on technology. I'm a big fan of tech because I think it saves people a lot of time. If you're going backwards and forwards to make sure that the heating thermostat's been whacked up so that they arrive and it's toasty, or you're going to set the fire, or you want to put the lamps on, well, there are some traditional, just the old-fashioned timer systems which you can set, so by 3-4 o'clock they're coming on, so that there's a glimmer of light and, you know, you're welcomed into the house.
Into the dark.
But also there's a lot of systems like Hive and Nest out there, which I think as an owner, if you're at a distance from the property and you're managing it, it's so easy just to you turn it up on your phone or set some timing routines.
It gives you a lot of control.
And you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
And you can also keep an eye on the temperature of your house if it's freezing from afar, so it takes a bit of, I think, a bit of peace of mind as well. And guests are quite familiar with this. And also, if the guest is left and maybe they've not turned the heating down, you can control that as well. So it's some conveniences too. Other warm welcomes is making sure that the fireplace is set up, not necessarily lit, if you have one, and making sure your basic things are in the cupboard so that you can have a sit down, have a cup of tea, and then you can grab your welcome book. Should we just grab that book?
All of our boxes have a folder which gives all the guests all the bits and pieces of information they need: the Wi-Fi, how to work the heating, how to have hot water, if they need to make any changes to those, obviously contact numbers if they have any questions as well. They can get hold of people.
Yeah, and you know, not always will everyone read them, but if they're left out, say, on the dining room table or by the kettle, everyone will go to them for the Wi-Fi. I mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
And all your pertinent information, have it on the front and less is more. Don't go into too much detail. Put detail bits at the back, or the instructions of how to work the TV and the washing machine.
Visits, things like that.
But then put things in that you would recommend. It might be, you love the cafe down the road on the left is not so good to the one on the right.
Yeah.
Why? Make sure people are encouraged to go local. Where's the local farm shop?
Comes back to recommending good service, which is what we're all about.
And then guests will sit down after the journey, calm down, plan, and start having that, well, majority conversation.
Yeah.
And as we're going to talk about welcome hampers, a lot of our owners in the past have asked us, what should we include, how much should we spend, what do guests want, and I think over the years it can really much vary depending on your target audience. You might have a family house and you have children on often, so you might want to include little treats for the kids. You might have pet friendlies, you might have some treats for the pets. But the typical things, Nicky's going to run through with you right now.
Yes,
what you might
just to give you an example of some of the things you might want to include in a welcome hamper. You don't have to include everything. As Rowena said, it really depends on what your type of house is and how many people it sleeps. But perhaps if you want to do something, a local bottle of wine is a nice gesture. Some crisp snacks for the kids when they arrive. Some apple juice, orange juice, local again. We try to source local products where we can, because they're all, it's great to support local businesses. We've got some Kentish honey, which is always nice to have for breakfast. Wooden spoon jam, of course, again is Kentish. And some muesli, cereal, fruit and eggs, tea and coffee. So as a basic, we would say tea, coffee, milk, bread and butter is really nice. You've been on a journey to get to wherever you're going to, and the first thing you probably want to do is have a cup of tea or coffee. And having those bits and pieces there for guests makes a huge difference. They then don't have to go out and buy those once they've arrived. But it really does depend how far you want to go and what sort of offering you want to give your guests for each property. Also, a small gesture could be something simple like picking some flowers from the garden and popping them in the vase. It's such a nice welcome. Everybody loves flowers, and to have those on arrival when you've turned up for your holiday, it's a little touch that makes a huge difference. So hopefully that will give people some ideas if they're thinking about what they should provide, and we can obviously discuss those with owners who are thinking about offering a welcome pack and what they'd like to provide in those.
Yeah, and I suppose it's not always, trying to be local, it's really great to do that, but then even the big supermarkets, they are sourcing, things like Kent Crisps and a Barnsley local drinks of juice. You can get all these now.
So if you don't have a lot of time to go around shopping each time for your guests, you can buy bulk on a lot of occasions, have them in a cupboard stored away for your housekeeper who can grab one out each time you have a booking arriving. It's really time, saves a lot of time if you can do that.
And then after stay, so when we're moving on from the welcome pack and how to greet people and have a great arrival, I think once people are in the house, it's a nice thing to check in on them the day later. Now, it doesn't have to be a phone call or popping your head over the fence. What we do is we send them a message, they get an email from us, just a real, how was the beds, how are you feeling, are you having a good time, what's the weather like? Just to let them know that we're there.
Do you have everything you need to make your stay comfortable, and let us know if there isn't.
And and we're hoping that nips any little issues in the bud. Sometimes these things happen, but it's how you deal with them. And again, I think that makes people feel welcomed, and that it's no trouble to let us know what we need.
There's somebody to speak to if they need to raise anything.
So that's the basics of what we're covering off today about a good welcome. There are lots of very simple things in here. We know that some owners can go hugely above and beyond. They might be baking cakes and things like that, which is lovely, but it's not something we know that everyone can do. In our houses, Snicky's grabbing one of these.
We have little notes which owners can write on. They can, leave a little welcome message to their guests, or we can often do that for our guests directly. Just to say, we hope you have a lovely stay, and we're here if you need us.
And they can always rebook again with offers that we have as well for our guests, so that they can rebook with some savings.
So we'd like to know what you do at home. Ask us some questions, send us some messages. What do you do to welcome guests into your home? Because this is all about sharing ideas and raising the bar of hosting generally, not just in holiday homes. It can be in your own home, it could be wherever you are using service providers. So we'd love to hear your thoughts and let us know what your recommendations are and what your tips are.
yeah, we might know, it might be all changing and we might be missing something, so we're really keen to learn. And guests as well, tell us what you want.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear from you all.
Yeah.
So next week we are going to be talking with Sarah from Beyond the Table, who is an expert in tablescaping. She does the most amazing setups for all sorts of celebrations, birthdays, weddings, christenings, you name it, any type of celebration. And her attention to detail is fantastic, and it's something that can be added to your booking, to your holiday, if you're having a celebration or if you're just having a dinner party with friends. So we're going to chat with her. She's going to show us what she does, what she offers.
And some tips and tricks as well on how to do it yourself with a bit of what's in the house. She's very good at kind of being eclectic and working within the environment you're in and kind of pulling it all together.
Yeah.
And she's also an event planner, so she's really helping us to achieve the pack the fridge, organise games for the kids, and lots of other extra tips and tricks and things that people are wanting. And she's learning lots as we are going through the summer about what people want.
Yeah. So that's going to be really exciting. She's already booked up for many of our houses over the summer, so we're looking forward to seeing those.
And we're hoping to have a lesson on how to do a beautiful table display.
Yeah, so tune in next Tuesday, 12 o'clock. We will see you there. And thanks for joining.
Thanks.